Do you know that audiophiles are always being deceived? In fact, everyone is deceived, but audiophiles are deceived for a lot of money. This is because audiophiles are convinced that the more expensive his device, the better it sounds. And they are convinced of this by the power of marketing. In other words, advertising, or people who share their opinions on TV screens, phone, monitors. In short, people like me. Therefore, the first quality audiophiles need is common sense. This is what we will talk about today. Hello dear friends, my name is Arkady Zenin, and I'm the founder of Premium Hi-Fi. We are located in Riga and connect people with sound. The first thing that comes to a music lover's mind is that vinyl sounds better than digital sorts. People usually find many confirmation of this misconception on various forums, websites and discussions. In fact, if you watch Yuri Lapinski's video titled Vinyl and Sex, you will learn many facts about the imperfections of vinyl as a sort. And of course, to make a vinyl player reproduce phonograms at least at the level of a simple, cheap CD player, any audiophile need to spend tens of thousands of euros and several years on various experiments to make their vinyl really sound. If you don't believe me, watch the videos on the I'm Her channel, where Evgeny Shvedev has been struggling with setting up his vinyl system for probably 10 years or more. He has spent an incredible amount of money and time. Sometimes he says, well, finally it sounds good. Anyway, my Bluetooth headphones always sound good. I have visited the Munich Highend show several times, and one of my tasks was to find out which sort is actually better, tape, vinyl or digital. And you know, I was convinced that any sort provided it is of good recording quality, can sound quite good. But I like analog master tapes the most. But this type of sort is quite rare, very expensive and inconvenient. Naturally, one of the important aspects is how much time and money you are willing to spend on your favorite sorts. If you have a lot of time and money, why not fall in love with vinyl? Considering that when buying vinyl, you will need an incredible number of accessories. Sellers shamelessly offer a huge number of crazy things to vinyl lovers. By the way, on our Premium Hi-Fi website you can also find vinyl players for 10,000 euros, special phono preamps, tone arms, cartridges and resonance pads, vinyl sleeves, vinyl cleaning kits and all sorts of other stuff that is completely unnecessary for those who prefer digital sound. I will never advertise this because I understand the impracticality of all these accessories. But if you need them, you can of course order them from us. We ship orders all over Europe. Order from premiumhifi.lv, then at least your money will go to the development of the channel and not to another jeep for a member of the board of a giant corporation. Despite the imperfection of vinyl as a sort, many people prefer it for nostalgic reasons and because of the incredible tactile appeal of the sort. Well, as they say, love is blind. Actually, it's not all that bad. While preparing information for this video, I had a chance to talk to Pavel, a Riga audiophile who loves and collects vinyl. This person, by the way, is a viewer of the Premium Hi-Fi channel, Russian version, and also lives in Riga, just like me. We chatted and naturally I started asking Pavel why he loves vinyl so much. It turned out that he collects vinyl for nostalgic reasons. He enjoys listening to the same albums on the same vinyl he listened to in his youth. Additionally, he loves obtaining rare edition in unusual ways. As a result, each vinyl record possesses a certain collectible value. You get vinyl that no one else has, delivered from an exotic country. You know the full chain, who owned the vinyl, when it was released, and where it was stored. You know that buying a second copy of that disc is almost impossible, and not all vinyl records are used for their intended purpose, for listening to music. They can simply be collections item, which is also quite good. Moreover, it is important for Pavel to listen to an entire album of vinyl, as many musicians create album as a full work. By listening to an album in its entirety, we show respect to the musicians and immerse ourselves to the true process of our favorite band. The main thing is that our hobbies bring us joy and make us happy. I have listened to many different vinyl setups and can tell you this. More or less acceptable vinyl players start sounding good from 2000 euros and above. But why would I pay 2000 euros for a vinyl player if I get similar sound quality straight from my phone? Please write in the comments why you love vinyl so much. The next way to get more money from an audiophile is to offer them expensive cables. Today's method of measuring cable quality do not allow us to get an exact answer on what criteria make certain cables sound better or worse. An audiophile, after reading various forums and watching bloggers like me, buys expensive cables and indeed hears some difference. But the main question is, do you hear an objective improvement? Well, in this case, rather subjective. Because measuring the quality of cables, as I said earlier, is impossible today. And here is a great field for convincing audiophiles that specific super-duper cables are better. The company uses super-duper Cooper, incredibly complex thread weaving structure, some incredible 5-layer insulation material with a special molecular structure, special connectors made using patented technology, and so on. But you will never be shown any objective measurements. They simply do not exist. To be honest, I sometimes hear an improvement in sound when using good cables. However, many forget one fundamental fact. The influence of the room on sound quality is about 90%. If you invest a small amount of acoustic treatment of the listening room, the improvement effect will not only be noticeable, but also measurable. From my experience, in most cases, just good cables are enough. I am not talking about electric cables from hardware stores, that extreme. Just good branded cables that will not leave you broke, but will ensure reliable signal transmission from one unit of your system to another. Answer my simple question. Why do good studios always have acoustic treatment? And why do studios never use glamorous cables costing hundreds of thousands of euros? Please write in the comments what answer you get and be sensible when choosing cables. The next exotic nonsense I encountered is grounding system with dirt in boxes. And supposedly it worked. Guys, who really understand electricity, please write in the comments, will such grounding work? For audiophiles, more expensive options were invited. Instead of dirt, the boxes are filled with special stones and miracle materials to make the grounding more qualitative and the sound especially warm and engaging. A completely serious company, in all seriousness, in beautiful expensive wood makes such grounding systems, and apparently audiophiles buy them. Guys, think with your head. Grounding needs to be done by driving a rod into the ground. To clarify, into planet Earth, not into a box with dirt. How much do you think such grounding in a box costs? Or Google it. Please write in the comments what you find. But if you seriously decide to ground your system this way, take a screwdriver, wrap a wire around it, and stick it into a flower pot that your wife planted, and connect the other end to your system. Then you will have blooming sound with deep detail. Another quite common way to get even more money from audiophiles is to offer them special audiophile bricks. Audiophiles are supposed to press these bricks on sources, amplifiers and speakers to prevent vibration from interfering with the holy sound transmitting without distortion. In stores, serious men in shorts and suits seriously press sources and amplifiers with this damned brick. Look at you with a serious questioning look, and you sit there all crumpled and embarrassed. Well, it's awkward to admit that you don't hear anything. You nod seriously and say, "Oh yes, the sound is wonderful, but I think about it a bit more." Why thinking to yourself, what the hell is this nonsense? Has it happened to you? Write in the comments. The main thing is there are no measurements as always. The next popular misconception among audiophiles is that Bluetooth doesn't sound good. Guys, Bluetooth has sounded fine for several years now, and this has been measured, documented and scientifically proven. Of course, you can avoid using new music transmission methods for as long as you want, but audiophiles are simply depriving themselves of the opportunity to listen conveniently to high-quality good music. And sellers, in light of what was previously told, do not benefit from selling Bluetooth device, but it is very profitable to say that Bluetooth is very, very bad. After all, by selling Bluetooth, you won't be able to sell expensive cables, audiophiles bricks, and exotic grounding. All this crap from last century becomes simply unnecessary. Progress. Although when using low-quality Bluetooth chips, it can indeed be very, very bad. Guys, use critical thinking techniques. This will help you not waste your money on various audiophile nonsense. Have you ever wasted your money on any audiophile nonsense? Write in the comments. Another mystical trick that allows audiophiles to get a better listening experience is the Stein Soundfield harmonizer. No one understands how they work. Even the manufacturer doesn't not explain how these little black boxes with batteries work. But judging by the description of audiophiles, they stretch the sound field, making it three-dimensional. What the hell? Isn't the sound picture supposed to be three-dimensional when we listen to stereo? For example, if you come to us at Premium Hi-Fi and listen to Reflector Audio's Square 2, a reference, monitor, studio, fuzz linear speaker system that is designed, assembled, and tested using objective quality criteria, you will hear a deep stage, separately standing musicians, and the full frequency spectrum according to all hi-fi criteria without any harmonizers, miracle cables, and certainly without bricks. If you have good equipment and an acoustically treated room, that's exactly how it will be. So why the hell do you need this harmonizer? No measurements are provided, but the harmonizer has several medals from prestigious audiophile publication. So decide for yourself what to believe in, the world of fantasy or the world of measurements. The next audiophile absurdity is burn-in. Who hasn't read comments on forum posts saying, after a week of burn-in the sound opened up? When I read such comments, I start to wonder what people who write such things are thinking about. Maybe it actually makes sense to keep metal audiophiles brick at home and press them to your temples from time to time to cool down the fermentation processes happening in your school. However, you can find scientific evidence that the characteristics of speakers do change over time. Also, speaker characteristics change with room temperature because the rubber suspension in a cooled room becomes stiffer and in a warm room softer, and this naturally changes the sound. Furthermore, the burn-in effect is actively used by manufacturers, and they even recommend warming up acoustic systems after purchase to make them sound better. People even warm up cables, interconnect, speaker, and power cables. There are even special devices for warming up cables, which are of course expensive. But no measurements confirm the improvement in sound quality. Additionally, no one talks about cycloacoustics and how our hearing adapts to the sound we hear. In other words, our brain adjusts the sound we hear to the sound we want to hear. And that is why after a couple of weeks of listening to a particular piece of equipment, we start to think that the sound has changed, although it actually remains the same. Our brain simply adapts and processes the sound differently. To put it more shorter, even the worst sound will seem better after a couple of weeks. It seems to me that buying one heavy audiophile brick is worth it, and use it to press down on your wallet to avoid unnecessary spending on various nonsense. Since you watched this far, you probably really want to improve the quality of your audio system. Let me give you a free tip you can use right now. Raise your hands to your ears and do this. Now, listen to the changes of your stereo audio system sound. You probably hear the vocal range better. The stage has likely deepened, and the high frequencies have become clearer. You're welcome. Just write in the comments what improved, so that you don't have to listen to music with your hands on your head like Cheburashka. Here's another tip. Fix your ears with good audiophile scotch tape. Just don't go to work like that. Audiophiles often overlook an obvious fact for improving the sound quality of their system: a power filter. The effectiveness of a power filter can be measured with simple instruments available even on AliExpress. They cost pennies, and it really objectively improves the performance of your audio system. Of course, you will have to pay for it, so it's probably a scam. And if you listen to music on your phone with headphones, you don't even need a power filter. You won't need acoustic room treatment either. You will always hear accurate, clean, high-quality audiophile sound, even with not very expensive headphones. For example, I have FIO GT1 for 75 euros and Focal Batis for 800 euros. Do you think I hear more detail with Focal Batis than with FIO GT1 or less? I answer right away. When I listen to my favorite Laskavый Maj, it's Russian band. It doesn't matter what system or headphones I'm using, as long I hear Белые розы, Белые розы. Focal bodies are of course great headphones. I really like their design, sound and functionality, but you can get the same sound from Chinese in-ear headphones for $25. I even have a short video on this topic on my Russian channel called How Much Does the Sound of Focal Bodies Cost? From everything said earlier, one obvious conclusion can be drawn. Good sound can be achieved with a good phone and inexpensive in-ear headphones for $25. However, if you want to tickle your ambitions, vanity and show off to those around you, then welcome to the world of high-end. You can find high-end gear at crazy prices on our website, premiumhifi.lv. Welcome to the world of insane audiophilia and affordable good sound. If you still want to experience musical magic with micro detail, spaciousness, reflections, and so on, you will need to buy headphones for at least a couple of €100 and a DAC headphones amplifier for about €150. It's necessary. Then all this audiophile magic will be on your pocket. Honestly, I have already heard the breadth of artists, the sound of patch tuning in sheet music, various creaks, sines and throttling. Fortunately, there was no farting. But it's really that interesting to listen to the musician breathing. In song Belые Розы, no one is puffing, everything is perfectly clear. Many have fallen for the marketing trap that high-res is the best recording and that only by listening to high-res on certified high-res equipment, you can hear things you never heard before. A wonderful, beautiful, convincing story. There are even precise measurements. The fact is that high-res means the sound will be recorded and reproduced from 20 Hz to 40,000 Hz, and with higher bit depth and sample rate than 16-bit and 44.1 kHz CD. But that's on paper. No one ever talks about the inconsistencies that arise in recording and reproducing high-res files. Most hi-fi and even high-end models barely cope and not always with standard hi-fi parameters from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. And here you have 40,000 Hz. There's no music there, it's ultrasound. In the pictures, the green frame is the boundary of our hearing. Everything else is a high-res zone that we cannot hear, and the equipment cannot reproduce. Few people consider that our hearing can theoretically perceive sound from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. But it's also very imperfect. Look at the graph. We hear bass poorly, and high frequencies poorly. The curves that go up on the left and right indicate that ears need more volume to hear the bass and treble. And with age, the upper limit keeps drooping. And by typical age of an audiophile, which is 35 years and older, this limit is around 14 to 16,000 Hz and continues to fall. So the question arises, why do we need high-res with an upper limit of 40,000 Hz if we can barely hear 14 to 16,000 Hz in our age? And that's the level of MP3. I discussed this topic in detail in my video MP3 Vesper High-res on the Premium Hi-Fi Russian channel. Check it out when you have time, link in the description. Since we touched upon the topic of hearing in the high-res section, let's talk more about our hearing. After all, it is with our ears, our hearing, that we listen to the equipment we choose. Or rather, we listen to music. My friend bought a vinyl player for €150 from Sony, and it's very happy with how it sounds. And it is a real case. I am not making this up. In my opinion, it's better to have a music collection in your phone in MP3 format and transmit it via Bluetooth to some inexpensive active speakers. It's more convenient. But that's just my opinion. Everyone chooses for themselves. But it all depends on how developed our hearing is. Many think that audiophiles are people with perfect hearing. There is no such thing as perfect hearing, and if you can't tell difference between a vinyl player for €150 and one for €10,000, for example, I distinguish them by the level of noise, as the expensive one makes less noise, then why buy a player for €10,000 if you only hear it for €150? I am unlikely to get more pleasure from listening to the composition Belые Розы on a player for €10,000. Of course the sound will be better, but the lyrics won't change, and the rhythm won't become magical and miracles. It will still be Belые Розы by Yuri Shatonov. A vinyl player for €150 has full hi-fi parameters and sound pretty good. So, if you like that sound and functionality, why not? Another property of our auditory system is the ability to fill in missing details and filter out unnecessary noise. You know that our brain needs only 10% of information to fill the remaining 90%. The same happens with sound. For example, we hear the sound of a violin from inexpensive speakers that cost the same 150 euros. Of course, speakers for 150 euros can't reproduce sound as well as speakers for 1,500 euros. On speakers for 1,500 euros you will hear much more detail. Nevertheless, even the sound from inexpensive speakers is enough to understand that a violin is playing. And the violinist is playing the same belly rosette, and our brain fills in the rest. Even if the speakers cost 15 euro. So guys, please don't listen to anyone and choose what you like and what suits you best. You know, there turned out to be only 9 ways to deceive an audiophile. I don't want to stretch it to another, 10th way, but I know I promised you a 10th way. So let's do this. Write in the comments about the ways you have been deceived as an audiophile, and it will be our little feature. And if you're looking for a store that will recommend audio components without any mysticism or miracle enhancers, based on years of experience, consult, help with installation and setup, then contact us right now via the link premiumhifi.lv in the description. That's all, dear friends, and may the force of the right sound be with you.